Hi guys.
Hey everybody.
Thank you for joining us again. I know we are more than 12 hours late with our video. Kind of forgot you were tired, but we kind of forgot it was Canada Day weekend and we are proud Canadians. So today is actually Canada Day. It's a Tuesday, which is kind of weird because how do you make a long weekend out of that? But whatever, here we are. We're celebrating anyway.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
And as promised, this episode is about forgiveness and what it really means in this day and age, and what the real message was that Jesus/Yeshua was trying to give us back in the day that got so dastardly twisted and, throughout the centuries and
misappropriated and misinterpreted.
Manipulated. Come on, let's be honest. So it is a Q&A with not only Yeshua, and for those of you who don't know who that is Jesus, and a Q&A, and I think we have some other guides chiming in throughout this channeling as well. So again, it's done in a question and answer format, and we're going to give you, a little chatter in between, just to kind of, try to link these understandings, because it is kind of a diversion from what a lot of us were raised.
Definitely very different than how we were raised.
In the religious system. So yeah, here we are. Happy Canada Day. And I think we're going to start with Jason asking the first question.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do.
Yeah, and then I will read the channeled answer from Yeshua.
I've always been confused by Yeshua's or Jesus's teaching of turn the other cheek. Sounds to me like you want us to take a beating and have no boundaries for anything.
Beloved, this teaching has caused so much confusion, hasn't it? Let me begin by saying this. I never asked you to be a doormat. I never asked you to abandon your truth. Here comes the wind, so hopefully you can still hear me. I feel like the elementals are chiming in here.
Yeah, they're agreeing.
Yeah, I never asked you to abandon your truth, your voice, or your sovereignty. The words turn the other cheek have been taken out of their original context, stripped of their deeper meaning, and used by systems of power to encourage submission, silence, and false piety. That was never my intention. Let me show you what I meant. In the time that I walked the earth, to be struck on the right cheek by the back of the hand was a gesture of insult, not violence, but humiliation, a way of declaring another less than. To turn the other cheek was not an invitation to endure abuse. It was an act of spiritual defiance. It said, "You may try to degrade me, but I will not meet you in degradation. I will not lower myself into hatred or retaliation. I will remain in my dignity, my peace, and my divine authority." This was not about receiving more pain. It was about refusing to become pain's messenger. Some of you are already in the mastery of this now. You're holding your boundaries without armor. That's a big one. You're walking away, not in anger, but in clarity. That is turning the other cheek. When someone comes at you with ego, distortion, or spiritual bypassing, you do not fight, you do not beg, you do not collapse. You simply step aside and let the light do the sorting. This is what I meant. If anyone tells you to forgive and forget while asking you to endure mistreatment, I say to you, they have misunderstood love. Love is not the absence of boundaries. Love is the presence of truth. It started to sound like vows for a wedding.
Yeah, a little bit.
Love is not the absence of boundaries until they said absence of boundaries. Yeah.
But I do love the message.
Yeah, love is the presence of truth. There is no greater act of love than protecting the sacred within you. So turn the other cheek, yes, not to be hurt again, but to show the world that you do not strike back like they expect. You rise higher. You become unshakable. You remain sovereign. So it's basically smile and nod, recognize the wounding in the other person and the fact that you don't want to be in their energy, and walk away. And in doing so, so now I'm picking up the rest. Sorry, guys. I'm like, just go off my own little diatribe here. And in doing so, you invite others to remember who they really are. I am with you always, not as master above you, but as brother in the light, walking beside you as you reclaim all that you are. Love, Yeshua. So that was me asking him, like, what did you mean by this? Because it just sounds like you want us to be a doormat. Like if somebody like pisses us off, like we're just supposed to stay and take it.
Yeah, and
No.
I mean, it's interesting because I find, both of those statements, turn the other cheek and forgive and forget. I mean, I've always felt that there is goodness behind them, and yet they've never sat quite comfortably with me,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like, oh yeah, forgive and forget. You wronged me, you did this, and it's like, forgive, I understand, but forget. I
Yeah.
mean, why would you consciously forget so you can just repetitively treat me poorly and I'm
Yeah.
supposed to keep forgiving you and forgetting about this?
And I think the forget is kind of, and I mean, please chime in on the comments and please like let us know what you think this means, because certainly we're not above it all and know it all or anything, but in my opinion, forget is obviously the whole phrase is a human construct, but
Mhm.
it might be just forget as in walk away, go about your business and forget that person.
Yeah, yeah,
Just forget the person, forget the energy they hold, forget that type of energy. I don't even know how to
yeah.
word it differently, but
No,
choose higher people, choose higher energy.
yeah, no, I understand. I mean, both of those messages have that same, you know, double meaning. One saying, submit yourself and be a doormat, and the other saying, rise above and set your boundaries and walk away as you need to,
Mhm.
right? And remain sovereign, remain true to yourself.
Yeah.
Because if someone is mistreating you, then, likely, yes, you do for your own soul, and I know we talk about this later, need to forgive. However, the concept of forgetting, I love that, what you just said. You forget that person, you forget that relationship, and you move forward, you move on, you move beyond,
Yeah.
so that you maintain your own sovereignty, because you should not be in a situation or allow yourself to be in a situation where someone treats you like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the forgetting is not always about, forgetting that they did that to you, but it is just, forgetting that type of person or situation and moving forward and not allowing yourself to, digress back into a situation like that again. And it certainly isn't about casting judgment either, because judgment is also a huge thing that, again, we're not going to be judged by our creator. But if we're judging others, then that is like a negative thing that's going to keep coming back at
It's like a
us.
negative
And
feedback loop.
it is. It's just going to create more karmic judgment on ourselves. So, anyway, that's a whole other show. So, now we get into some more of the shorter question and answers here. So, the next question was, what is forgiveness really? And Yeshua, he responds by saying,
He says, forgiveness is not pretending something didn't hurt. It's not spiritual amnesia. Forgiveness is the act of releasing yourself from the grip of someone else's action. It is the reclamation of your inner peace. It does not say what you did is okay. It says, I am no longer going to carry the pain of your choices in my body.
and that is so deep. People don't even realize that every time somebody wounds us, hurts us, if we can't work through it in the moment and understand that what they're doing is acting from their own wounding and projecting it onto you, if we can't come to terms with that in the moment and understand that what has happened is on them and we need to just let it go, then we internalize that and it creates pain in our body. It
Mm-hmm.
creates energetic wounding in our biofield. So
Yeah, it
Yeah.
causes us to carry other people's problems.
Yeah, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, like
So
it's a big deal. So yeah, got a little gust of wind. Not sure on the sound, so we're just gonna give it a second for it to calm down. So yeah, it's forgiveness is a big one because I hear a lot of my clients saying that, you know, especially with passed over loved ones that have hurt them that they haven't reconciled those hurts with yet. They say, I can't forgive them. I can't move on. And that saddens me in a little way because your moving on is dependent on your ability to forgive situations and understand them for what they are.
yeah, and the forgiveness is, in essence, it's for you.
Yeah.
It's not for them.
Well, it kind of is for them too. They do kind of need it. But they do need it to move on when they're on the other side. But anyway, I will go on to the next question. Does forgiveness mean we have to reconcile or stay in a relationship with someone? And Yeshua says the
No.
short answer is
Short answer is no.
yes.
No, forgiveness is an internal liberation. Reconciliation is a relational decision. You can forgive someone and still choose to never let them be close again. Boundaries are not the opposite of forgiveness. They are often its most sacred fruit.
It's most sacred fruit. Yeah. So boundaries is something I've been working on because, you know, my whole life I want to fix everybody. I want to give to everybody. I want to stick around for when they hurt me so that I can teach them how not to do it again and how not to do it to others. And it's like, that's exhausting.
It is. I think we all do that a little bit.
Yes, we do. So, question number 3. How do we forgive someone who isn't sorry? Yeshua says.
By realizing that their apology is not required for your soul to be free. You do not need their recognition to choose peace. You do not need their remorse to stop suffering. Let their soul be dealt with by love itself. Your work is to release the hook so their darkness no longer pulls at your light.
Yeah. And sometimes that's difficult when the person lives with you. So, you know, it is really about seriously strong boundaries. And when you feel the energy slipping or you feel that moment of, I can't handle listening to this again, or I can't be in this position again, it is about repositioning yourself strategically so that you don't have to be around that energy.
Yeah, it's creating those boundaries so that you can manage that situation.
Yeah.
Right? And again, if you can't, go back to the previous answer. No, you don't have to be in that relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Reconciliation is not the same.
No, it's true. Sometimes the hard part is, no, I don't have to be in this relationship, but where the heck am I going to go? Like, how am I going to do this? And if you're serious and you want to do it, once you make the decision and you have faith, things will fall together for you, but you have to be willing to accept help from people who want to help you. But yeah, it is challenging when you have to live with somebody. And I not in this circumstance, but in the past I have. And it's hard to forgive and forget when serious moral codes have been broken. Yeah. So
I appreciate you clarifying for everyone that it is.
Well, I mean, no.
Just in case everyone was worried out there.
Well, I think everybody knows, even if they don't know, I've had a few past relationships. So anyway, so yeah, forgiving somebody who isn't sorry is challenging. When you know what, you don't need them to come to you and say, yes, I was wrong. You don't need that. You just need to work through the hurt and understand why it happened and how much stronger you are because of it.
And in fact, I would suggest
don't.
It's important that you're not waiting.
No, it's important that you don't go to them and say, I forgive you.
No.
Don't do that. Because you will only cause yourself a world of hurts if that is not in the cards for them. So, what about forgiving ourselves? Why is that the hardest thing to do?
Because you have believed the lie that your worth is tied to your perfection. You have mistaken growth for failure, but your soul came here to evolve, not to perform. Forgiveness of self is remembering that you are not what you've done, you are what you are becoming. And I have never left you. Even in your deepest shame, you were always held.
Shame, there's a big word too.
That is a big word. I think everybody carries some shame.
Yeah. Do you know that we were never meant to carry shame or guilt or any of that stuff? Fear. We were for a time, I guess, in order to experience it, and the polarity of joy versus guilt, shame, all those other things, gratitude versus guilt, shame, all those other things. But shame is one of the lowest frequency emotions that you can be in. So when you find yourself in shame because you can't forgive yourself for something, that is when you maybe need to reach out to,
No, you need to
for
reach out
guidance, but also
to others.
to us, to others.
Take time, sit in meditation,
Yeah.
right? Because you need to be able to reconcile for yourself, with yourself. You need to be able to forgive yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Without shame or guilt. We came here to experience these things on purpose. And we didn't come to I'm wiggling the table, sorry. We vowed we would not touch the table to make it wiggle. I'm not touching the table anymore.
No touching the table.
No touchy. Anyway, yeah, so carrying shame around something that you can't forgive yourself for, whether it's the way you treated somebody or a mistake you made or a moral code you broke, and let it go. Big deal. Okay, you made a mistake. It's okay. That's what we're here for. Whoosh, gone. Move on. Next question. How do we know if we've truly forgiven? This is a big one, and I keep getting tested on it myself.
So when you can tell the story without the pain taking over, when you no longer fantasize about revenge or proving your worth, when your nervous system no longer reacts in fear or rage at the mention of their name,
Yes.
true forgiveness feels like a deep breath and the return of your own energy to your own hands.
Yes.
And that's really, that sovereignty over ourselves,
Yeah.
right? When we're able to look back, when at times when we have been wronged by others, and we can look at it, speak about it, and simply acknowledge it as something that's happened.
Yep.
And again, forgiveness is not about the other person, or it's not solely about the other person. It's about ourselves and taking control of our own lives,
Yes.
having sovereignty in our lives.
Yeah. And honestly, the biggest piece for me throughout my life of forgiveness and letting things go was realizing that these people that I need to forgive are people who I had soul contracts with. I asked them before I was born to do this to me, bring me this experience so I could remember who I am on a spiritual level. So I could break out of the chains of you know the darkness on earth, and I could remember who I am as a sovereign being. So when I look back at these situations and these people from a perspective of, oh yeah, we made a contract to come here and do this. We sat around a boardroom table on the other side. Okay, not literally, and we agreed that we were going to come here and do this to each other to experience the hard stuff so we could see what we're made of and if we could remember our sovereignty and our divinity. And so that's the way I look at it. I look at it as though these people are actually a blessing in my life. These people I need to forgive because they're the ones who made me who I am today. So honestly, probably the best teachers you have.
And another, I guess, perhaps less evolved way to look at it is that oftentimes why would you put so much energy into being upset with them or being angry with them or whatever? Oftentimes they may not even know or care.
Yeah.
So you're laying awake at night, unable to sleep, upset about something somebody's done to you. And that person is sleeping fine. In fact, to them, that may have just been, a Tuesday. And you happen to be the person that caught the sharp end of the stick.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal, no skin off their teeth, whatever phrase you want to use. And meanwhile, you're sitting there at 2:00 in the morning with your monkey mind rolling around and around and around and around about this situation. So,
well, it's that old line too. Like, it's like being angry with somebody and sending them angry thoughts and stuff is like swallowing poison and expecting them to die.
yeah.
And that's not my quote. That I read that
Yeah,
years ago. I don't remember who it is, but
I don't know either, but I have read it as well.
yeah. And so it's like, for your own health, for your own good, you need to reconcile this and let it go with or without their help. So there is a one final question we asked, and that was...
There's even one more final.
Oh, is there?
After this.
Oh, my apologies.
We have a final.
This is the second final question. Is forgiveness necessary for ascension? And I love this question because it leads into our next series of 3 videos. Is forgiveness necessary for ascension?
Yes.
Short answer.
So not because it's a rule, but because not forgiving is a weight, and you cannot fly with chains dragging you down.
And that is very similar to a post I did a couple weeks ago with the hot air balloon analogy.
Mm-hmm.
So a hot air balloon, and this came to me in meditation, and I was shown a hot air balloon, and it was just hovering above the ground, but it had all these sandbag weights holding it down. And each of those sandbags was forgiveness, or a situation that no longer serves your highest good, or friendships that no longer serve your highest good. And as you cut away each sandbag, your balloon starts to rise. And what powers that balloon? Flame. Just like each of us, the flame of divinity, our own truth. And while we cut away all these things, including, needing to forgive people, it lightens our load, so we're able to rise like the hot air balloon. So, yeah, it's my 2 cents. Any final words to those struggling to forgive right now?
Start where you are. You do not have to feel ready. You do not even have to know how. Just say, I am willing to be free. That is the first and most sacred prayer. Heaven will meet you in that willingness.
So what does that mean?
Being free from causing yourself your own pain and suffering. I mean, that's really what forgiveness is. It's stopping the hurt that we create for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
And repetitively living in that story and being the victim of that story over and over and over. Like, seriously, it has to end. You can't stay in victimhood, or you will stay in low level frequency. And it's not fun there.
No, for your own health, for your own, spiritual ascension, for your own ability to live a happy life, you have to learn to forgive.
And the last line, heaven will meet you in that willingness. So what does that mean? So to me, that means when you come forward and say, I'm ready to forgive, I'm ready to be free of that baggage, boom, your guides, your teachers, your angels, they're right there. They're like, yes, finally. She wants help. She wants help. We're going to give her signs. We're going to give her synchronicities. We're going to send her lighter energy. We're going to help her flush that out. And then you turn to them at night and you say, while I'm sleeping, help adjust me, work on me, give me light, give me healing, give me release, give me whatever it is I need. And do that every night. And then You'll get little tests throughout the year to see if you've really forgiven, to see if it's really gone. Like your higher self is going to bring in instances where you see maybe a post that triggers you, or, again, another run in with this situation that triggers you. And if it stops triggering you, you're done.
Yeah, you've forgiven. It's clear.
Yep. You've let it go. It's like, no, I've learned the lesson from that. I'm not bitter about it anymore because I understand that because of that, I'm in this better place now. I'm no longer living down here. I'm up here. You've created a big lesson learning gap between the old frequency you were at and the new one. When you forgive, it makes you lighter.
It does.
Yeah. Anything to add, my love?
No, I'm looking forward to the ascension video that we're going to be doing next week.
Yep.
So we'll get it posted up on the Monday.
Hopefully. We might have to pick a new day for these because Mondays are a little hairy for us.
Mondays are a little tight.
Yeah. But no, so we're doing a little series coming up. There's it's like a 3-parter. It is what is ascension? And the first part is kind of talking about ascension. And then I don't even remember 100%.
It's okay.
There's also how do we engage in this? How do we heal this?
What should we be doing?
Yeah. And then it's followed up by the solar flash. Everybody's favorite topic, the solar flash. When is it coming? What does it look like? How is it going to affect us? Yeah.
Well, based on a number of things, it sounds like it's going to come either now or later. And it's going to be small or big. And
yep.
Perhaps we'll provide a little bit more insight than that.
Yeah. It's pretty wishy-washy. But it's been an exciting topic and a lot of different with a lot of different channels. Yeah.
And a lot of different conflicting information, which makes sense given the way that things go.
Yeah, so. For sure. Well, we've loved doing this with you guys again. Thank you so much, and we love you. For our fellow Canadians, happy Canada Day.
Yeah, and for anybody not Canadian, have a beautiful day.
Yeah, have a great day. Love you all.